Hey everybody, welcome in. I hope everybody's doing well. We have the latest video, the latest Leviathan video. We've got the gaunts here now. I am doing reviews on all the model kits that Games Workshop have very kindly sent to me early, so that I can have a look at them for you. And I think it's only fair that because they've done that, I kind of have a quick look around the sprues for you and have a review. We can snap all these off so they're a little bit more manageable. But these gaunts are actually I've never been a massive Tyranid fan. The aesthetic of them has always been a little bit sluggish for me. They've always been a bit chunky and they look a little bit slow as opposed to like the aliens that I kind of grew up with, which was the xenomorphs and the predators being like fast and agile. However, these new sculpts specifically have got a lot more a lot more of an agile feel to them, and also the detail and like cleanliness of them. I keep going on about the cleanliness and the clarity of all the detail on the sculpts that Games Workshop are doing at the moment, and they are absolutely fantastic. But these ones in particular, if we zoom in a fraction so that we can see a bit better, the clarity and how kind of lithe the limbs and everything are, the legs and their arms and the talons, they look really cool. They look as if they are particularly agile and quick and just would tear you to pieces. I hear you, Lawrence. I don't think you could take a Termagant in combat, but in hand-to-hand combat. But these ones are fantastic. I am going to build a couple of them for you as well. And actually, if we have a look at the build as well, they're ever so simple. So there's 4 parts and they all kind of plug together. So it should be quite easy to do. I'm going to do these top 2, I think, if I can find those on the sprues. They're the ones I'm going to do. So I'm going to have a quick look at them, clip them all off and build them all up. From having a quick look at the sprue, there doesn't seem to be any issues with stress in terms of clipping them out. The one thing I would recommend is, where was it? I saw one. There we go. So these parts here, I would probably clip that claw off first before I clip all of this off, just to kind of release the strain and any pressure on that part as I'm clipping it away. So any of the claws seem to be, where's the other one? There we go. So there's another claw here. So I just clip that claw off first, and then do the rest of it, just so I'm not putting any undue pressure on that. But let's get these clipped out. I'm going to build the first 2. I'm really bad with this, so I will tend to just clip out 1, 2, 3, 4, and then put them together, and then I'll find the next 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Find those and kind of clump them together. I am interested to see how much posability we've got. I do, as if you've watched any of my other videos for building multi-part kits like this, I do tend to clip off the pegs so that I've got a little bit more variability in how I'm going to pose them, but we'll see how that looks. Obviously, if you would like to see the rest of the review videos, I've done the Terminators, all the Captains, the Librarians. I'm going to do all the Tyranids as well, so go and check out those videos. Please drop me a like and a subscribe, and you can check me out everywhere else as well, at Chris Frosting on Instagram, etc. And let's, with no more delay, let's snip these out. And we are actually at 1, 2, 3, and 4. So that's the first one there. And there must be 5. Yeah, there we go. 5, 6, 7, and 8. So we've got the first two. We're going to clip out there, and we're going to build those 2. So let's get into that now. Thank you very much, everybody, for watching. And I hope you enjoy these little Termagants. Well, that was incredibly easy. So we're going to do this one live. We're going to snip this one out. So in terms of the build and everything, incredibly easy. The mold lines are pretty much non-existent. You've got to be a little bit careful with the gate marks. So these little parts on the sprue here are called gates. So you get a little bit of a gate mark on some of them. But if you're clipping them out carefully and as close as you can, they tend to be absolutely fine. But it went together. It went together surprisingly well. So normally I would clip off the pegs because I don't like pegs, and they tend to get in the way of joining up, and you end up with like gaps in the mold and gaps in the model where the joins are. But these ones, because these models are so organic in style and look, then the gaps are pretty much invisible. So we're just going to clean up very quickly, clean up the body of these little gate marks here. So I've got a pretty new blade in here. So this is a pretty new blade in the hobby knife. I do like these kind of X-Acto XL knives, if you like, craft knives over the scalpels. They just have a little bit of a thicker blade, and they've got less. They are less likely to snap the blade. Yes, you can be very careful with scalpel blades and everything, but inevitably you always end up trying a little bit too hard to cut something and then the blade snaps. So I've had a couple of occasions recently where my scalpel blade has snapped and flown past my face, and I was like, well, okay, I'm out. I don't want to do I don't want to use scalpel blades anymore. So I've gone back to these X-Acto blades, X-Acto style knives, which I've got an awful lot of as well. So I'm not really short on these. So we'll just quickly clean up some of the more prominent gate marks on these models. Now, when you're cleaning up gate marks, particularly on Tyranid models like this, because they're so organic and there's not really any kind of defined shape to things, then you can be a little bit more, not lazy, but you don't have to be quite as neat. So for instance, like this gate mark here, I can be quite aggressive and cut it out, because then you can just kind of smooth it out, and like nobody's going to notice the difference there, because it's an organic shape. So if an organic shape has a little bit of a cutout in it like that, then nobody's going to notice. Doesn't really matter. So arguably Tyranid models and things like this are slightly easier to tidy up. Just clean that blade. So we're not going to glue this one together. What we're going to do is we're just going to pin it together. So we've got the peg there, peg slots in there nice and easily. In fact, we'll just clean up that. Just seen that gate mark on the back of his leg, so we'll just clean that up as well. As you can see, there's hardly any mold lines on this. Like I'm an absolute stickler for cleaning up mold lines, and I can't see any prominent ones on these models at all. So this is one of the benefits of getting models when they are freshly released. It means you don't give chance for the molds that Games Workshop use to kind of wear out. So as soon as they start wearing out, then you end up with a bit more of a gap between the molds, and you can have a bit more of a mold line appear. But brand new ones tend to be nice and crisp. So there we go. Plug all that in there, plug all that in there, and there is Termagant number 2. They're really cool. They are really cool. Check them out. They're very good. I'm less worried about kind of tweaking the pose. The only thing I'd maybe do is, the only thing I'd maybe do was going to bend the tail a little bit, but that's incredibly brittle. I wonder how this one bends. We'll be a little bit more aware of where the pressure is. Yeah, that is. So don't bend the tails. And if you do, don't bend them too much, because as you can see, the stress on them is going quite quickly. So I will just glue that back together, nice and simple. But in terms of how posable or like dynamic they look pretty good straight out of the box. Not really worried about having to repose them, but then things like Termagants, you end up with like so many of them, it doesn't really matter. It's not like you're going to be able to have that different a pose across 60 models if you have 60 Termagants. So there we go. Okay, welcome in, welcome back. So we've fast forwarded a few days. As you can see, I've had a little bit of a desk change up. I basically re-recorded the end because I wasn't happy with it, and this is cooler. And I also built some more of these Termagants because they're really cool. They're very, very cool. And one of the things that I very much wanted to show off, although these, having said that, these two aren't a great example of it, is the variety of the poses. And these two, well, definitely not the ones to pick up on, but that's a better example. There we go. So that's a better example. The poses are fantastic. They're really, really cool. This is the color scheme which I've started putting on my Termagants and my Tyranids. So there's a painting video coming for this scheme very, very soon. Probably tomorrow, actually, if you're watching this. And then, yeah, they do go together incredibly well. The pegs and everything are not intrusive at all. The only peg that I did snip off was the this one here, and these ones aren't glued particularly. So I just snipped that one and shortened that peg a little bit on all of them. But they all went together absolutely beautifully. There's one primed, ready to go. With the funky kind of bass. Apologies if you can hear the traffic. It's quite warm here in the UK today, so I've got the window open so you can hear some boy racers outside and probably some little birdies as well. But these look very, very, very cool. And in terms of scale, that's how big they are compared to the tiny little blind Neurogaunt's, and that's how big they are compared to the Leapers. So that's the Leaper, that's my colour scheme again. There probably won't be a painting video on this one, but I might well record the Tyranid Prime, the Tyrant Prime. So yeah, they are properly cool. I am, again, it just gets me excited and really hopeful that they do new Hormigants, because Hormigants are like, as I keep saying, they are my favourite of the kind of the small Tyranid models. I think like the Leapers and maybe the Tyrant Prime and stuff have probably just kind of tipped them at the moment. But if they bring out new Hormigants, I'm in trouble basically, because I can do an entire Hormigant army. I think that would be amazing. So there we go. So these are all the Hormigants. You also get on the sprue, as I'm sure you are aware, you get little Ripper Swarms. Now the Ripper Swarms, interestingly, are not that strong like in game. They have some benefits. That you are able to remove the objective control, or at least not remove, halve the objective control characteristic of enemy models which are nearby them. Inherently themselves, they don't hold any objective control ability, so you're not going to be able to find these. You're not going to see these like in the backfield holding objectives or anything. Therefore, because these ones, and also arguably these little Neurogaunts as well, because they're not likely to be that strong in the game, you might well see these being quite cool to place on bases for larger models. So, for instance, like the Lictors or the Leapers or things like that, just to kind of tie them in. They do come in little pairs. So they plug together quite well into in little pairs like that, and you have four on a base, as you can see. But again, really, really nice kind of glow up, if you like, a improvement on the old classic Ripper Swarms. They do look very, very cool. Do a mega zoom in for you, and there you go. That's what the Rippers look like. Really, really nice models. Again, clarity and cleanliness of the sculpt is incredible. Detail is just out of this world. And exactly the same with these little Termagants. Fantastic little jobby jobs. Really, really nice. Yeah, the variety across the sculpts is a lot bigger than I thought it was going to be. Like the old Termagants are basically just that pose, repeated and repeated and repeated. Whereas these ones have got a much more kind of variation in in the pose, the angles of the guns are being held, like how they're running and things like that. So yeah, they are absolutely fantastic. And there is a close-up of my colour scheme. Yeah. Watch the painting video. There are some shortcuts that you will be able to take on this one. It doesn't take that long, actually. It doesn't take that long. You could quite easily kind of batch paint 20 of these. I might try. We'll see. We'll see what other models come out and see what other excitement kind of gets my juices going. Because I might want to do. I might want to kind of attack 20 Hormigants. But yeah, there we go. That is the Termagant review, build, tips, and everything else included, including car noise and outside environmental stuff. Anyway, thank you very much, everybody. Hope you enjoyed this one. You can catch me on Twitch, twitch.tv/Chris Frossin, and you please drop me a follow on there. And if you can drop me a follow on Twitter and Instagram as well, it's at Chris Frossin. You can also find all these videos a day early on my Patreon, particularly my painting videos. There will be some kind of exclusive painting videos on my Patreon as well. Yeah, if you want to go and find that, it's patreon.com/Chris Frossin. And if you check my description, there is all sorts of the tools which I use and affiliates which I have in the description as well. There will be a tool video coming very, very soon. I know a lot of you have been asking lots of questions about some of the tools that I use. So there will be a tool video coming very, very soon with just like everything that I use, and then links to where you can grab hold of them as well. So thank you very much, everybody. Take care. Have an amazing week, and look forward to seeing you tomorrow for another Leviathan video. And it's going to be how to paint these boys. So we've done the build, we've done the review. Tomorrow we're going to put some paint on things. Cool. Thanks very much, everybody. Take care of yourselves. Have an amazing day. Keep painting. See you later. Bye-bye.